Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Watches TV, where I watch all the TV shows, and then I come over here and I talk about them. And today, I want to talk about Stranger Things, Season 5, the first 4 episodes that were just released on Wednesday night. Okay, so let me give a little history to how I started watching these over the last couple days. So Wednesday night, going into Thursday on Thanksgiving, I knew I was going to be around my family, and my cousin, stepson, and I, we talk a lot about TV shows. And so the last time that I saw him, which I believe was on Halloween, we were talking about TV shows, and I was like, I'm so into the BritBox right now. And I was telling him about BritBox, and I was like, I need a show that, like, I just cannot stop watching. And he said, have you ever seen The Leftovers? And I said, no, it's on my list, but I haven't gotten to it yet and stuff. And he goes, you need to watch The Leftovers on HBO Max. And I was like, okay. So I think Tuesday night, I had finished The Fall with Gillian Anderson and Jamie Dornan. I'm gonna do my reaction to that over here. But anyway, so I finished that on Tuesday night, so it was Wednesday night, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start The Leftovers so that I can talk to him about it tomorrow. So I got like halfway through the first episode of The Leftovers, and I was like scrolling through my phone on Instagram. So I have an Instagram associated with this account where every night I like post stories of what I'm watching and whatnot. But because it's a specific just TV channel Instagram, all that comes up on my feed is TV shows. And so it was like one thing after another. I like pulled it up and it was Stranger Things. Stranger Things is here. Stranger Things is. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that Stranger Things came out tonight. So I went over to Netflix. At this point, it was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I went over to Netflix, and Stranger Things was up. I guess it came out at 8 o'clock that night. Then I started seeing people being like, don't bother me from like 8 o'clock on. I'm going to be watching Stranger Things. And I was just as excited too. I was so excited about the release of the first 4 episodes. And so I went over and I started watching Stranger Things. Well, I think the first episode's like an hour and 20 minutes or something. The second one's like 57 minutes. So I watched the first episode, and I watched half of the second episode on Wednesday night. And then I was like, okay, I'll finish the rest of it tomorrow night when we get home from our family's house. So I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not going to spoil it. There will be no spoilers in here. I'm just going to kind of give a brief general overview of what I thought about the first 4 episodes. I first want to talk about the release schedule, okay? Because I've one of the reasons why I started watching it was because I knew that everybody on Thanksgiving was going to be talking about Stranger Things. When I got over to my husband's aunt's house, my brother-in-law and my 2 nephews had watched all of it the night before. So they were wanting to talk about it. I was like, I haven't finished it yet. And then I got over to my cousin's house, and her stepson, the one I wanted to talk to about The Leftovers, he had already watched like the first episode and a half. So we were like kind of at the same point. And it was interesting because, especially with him, because my take on the release date was a little bit different than his. The release dates. So the way that they're releasing Stranger Things is that on Wednesday they release the first 4 episodes. And then on Christmas Day, is it Christmas Day or Christmas Eve? I believe they're releasing the next 3. And then the final episode comes out on New Year's Eve. I think it's New Year's Eve. And it's 2 hours. And I believe it's going to play in some movie theaters as well, is what I've seen. So anyway, to be honest with you, I don't really love to watch a show when it's released like that. Like the last season of Manifest, which was cheesy, but I loved that show. They like released the first half of the season and then 6 months later released the other half. It was way too long. Listen, the reason why we have streaming services is because we want to binge and watch a show and stream it. I think from a business point of view, and also because it's the last and final season of Stranger Things, I think it's a genius idea. I think that the way that they're releasing this, I think it's also getting people excited kind of about the holiday season. They know that people are going to be around their families. They also know that people are going to be done with school. You know, a lot of people that watch Stranger Things, they either watched it with their family or they're now in college and things like that. And so they kind of did it around, you know, like the holiday schedule, which I think that was smart as well. So from a business point of view and kind of like a get excited point of view, I think the release date is brilliant. I could have just binge watched the whole thing in 2 days. So I started watching it the other night. I have to tell you, so at the beginning of it, when you start watching, like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't seen it. Because like my husband is waiting until it's all out. which is what I usually do. But with Stranger Things, for some reason, I just couldn't. I was like, no, I gotta watch it now. When I started watching it, at the beginning of it, they put like a preview of what happened last season. I had forgotten how last season, I mean, it's been like 4 years. I don't know, what has it been, 2 years, 3 years? I had forgotten how the last season ended. And so I said to my husband, I said, what do you remember happening last? And he said, I remember Hopper getting out of, like, the prison. And I was like, yeah, that's what I remember, too. I didn't remember, like, the two worlds coming together. I did remember Max and what happened with Max. Like, I'm trying not to ruin this for people that haven't watched the previous seasons. I did remember that. I remembered the house and all that kind of stuff. But I thought that that came before. I don't know. Like, I didn't remember them all having this reunion and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I didn't remember all of that. And so when I watched the trailer from the previous season, I was confused. I was like, I don't really understand what's going on. So when it started, and Stranger Things 5 kind of just starts. Like, I mean, you're right into it. And, like, right into what's happening. And it's like, they've kind of really never stopped talking about it. You know, I expected for the kids to look so much older. They really don't, honestly. Like, I was kind of surprised about that. I mean, they do to some degree, but they don't, like, it's not a lot, you know? Like, they've grown up, and you can tell. I will tell you something that's interesting about it, though. And I don't know why. It just, I figured it out watching the first episode. So they're sophomores, and it's 1987, and it takes place in Indiana, and I live in Indiana, which, by the way, Hawkins looks like so much like Southern Indiana. I live in Indianapolis, but like an hour south of here, it looks just like Hawkins in Indiana in Stranger Things. So anyway, I don't know why this is crazy that this just occurred to me, or not just now, but when I was watching it, was that they're sophomores in high school, and it's 1987, and I was a sophomore in high school in 1987. Okay, but what's even more bizarre about that is Winona Ryder, that plays Will's mom, she is a year older than me, so she would have been a sophomore or junior in high school when I was in high school too. So I wonder if that's like surreal for her. I don't know if she's done interviews or talked about that. But I was like, this is so crazy. Because like very few shows do I watch where like I'm the age the characters were that year, you know? So I was like, oh my God, I would have been exactly their age in the show. So for me, like looking back on that age, I don't know, it was kind of fun. It was kind of surreal. So they get right into it. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I will tell you that, like, one of the things I was telling my friend, because my friend, her son has watched all of it, but he wants to go back and watch it from the beginning, and she's like, do you think that I would like it? I said, you'd love it. I said, in all honesty, I said, you know, I was kind of explaining to her how the show starts, and it's these 4 friends, and they play Dungeons and Dragons, and then it very much becomes like real life kind of thing. I said, I don't even know that I understand half of what happens. Like, I really don't. Like, I was confused going into this season, because I was like, I don't remember a lot of the stuff from last season. But I also don't like when stuff's going on and they're talking about the Demogorgs or gods. I don't understand a lot of that. I mean, I get the concept. Like, I'm not that stupid. Like, I get the concept of, you know, like the creatures, and I understand where they come from, and I understand like where Eleven comes from and Henry, and I understand all that, okay? But like on a deep level where people could like, this is not the review where you're going to get a breakdown of like Demogorgs and, you know, all that kind of, I don't get it on that level. Like, I don't. But what I realized about watching this, because I thought, like, when I started watching it, I thought, I'm going to be bored of this season. Because this season, more than any other season, I mean, they are right into the action and the adventure of, like, finding out and how to get to, you know, all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, I don't know I'm about this. What I love about this show is the camaraderie of all the friends. You know, it starts off with this group of 4 guys that are kind of misfits. I mean, I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I totally relate to that at their age. I was that. I was the misfit in high school. All my friends were girls, they weren't guys. But, so I totally relate to that. And then it's like, you know, like, the friending of, like, the sister and her past boyfriend. And they all become friends together. And I just love it. I love all the characters. And I love that this season, more than any other season, we've kind of mixed it a little bit. Like, I don't know. And that Winona Ryder is, like, right in the mix of all of it. And so is Hopper. I just love it. I think, like, they're bringing all the characters together. I mean, what's kind of crazy about it when you think about it is it's such a simple idea, really. I mean, it's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but like if they made a movie about people that love Dungeons and Dragons, but not playing the game, but they're like playing the game in real life, right? I mean, that's really basically what it is. And just the friendships that they build through playing this game. But the game is just really the real life of what's happening. So I ended up watching, on Thanksgiving night, I ended up watching the rest of episode 2, 3, and 4. I stayed up super, super late to watch it. Of course, like, my husband was like, does it end on a cliffhanger? I'm like, of course it ends on a cliffhanger. Like, I mean, come on, we have to wait till Christmas now. Of course it ends on a cliffhanger. But I loved it. I do. But, you know, like, when I was watching it, I wasn't like, it wasn't so much about the adventure or, you know, all the kind of stuff that was going on. I will say this, I'm trying to, like, in my head not to even say names and stuff, but the whole storyline of Max this season, when Max is introduced, I was like her main part in the show this season. I love Max anyway, but I really loved it. I thought the introduction, like, I just did a review the other day on my movie channel, and I did all the Halloween movies from worst to best. And I was talking in there about Halloween Ends, and they introduced Corey. And I don't love that in the final movie, they introduced a brand new character. Like, I just didn't think it was needed. But they introduced a new character. Why can't I think of her name now? Brooke. It's the little girl. They introduced this new character, but she's brilliant in it as well. And I love her and Max's storyline together. And I love that it's like all these, the show is really about friendship. It really is. And this season, it does not disappoint. I mean, this is an action-based season more so than any of the other seasons. I will say this about it though. As much as I love it, I found myself when I was watching it kind of reminiscing. Well, first of all, the mall season where they play the never-ending story and, you know, they're working in the mall and stuff, that's probably my favorite season. But it did kind of make me, like, reminisce back to, like, the first season. It just was, like, innocent times, and I don't know. They were so much younger and innocent, and we didn't really know that much about, like, 11 and stuff at that point. But I still thought the season was fantastic. I still thought it so far I thought it was good. And the cliffhanger, I will say this, isn't like, it's not one of those cliffhangers. It's like, I mean, it kind of like ends softly. So I'm ready for the next couple episodes. I'd love for you guys to let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. Is it a fail? Is it a success? I thought it was a success. I mean, the building of the friendships through the years is what I so love about this show, and I feel like this is like at the height of it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please try not to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.